I want to end with a note about climate change. We've talked about how glaciers form, how they flow, how they melt, how they change in the environment. We also talked about how right now, due to climate change, glaciers are melting, right? They have a net negative budget. And we have modeled and predicted what sea level would be if all of the glaciers on Earth melted. And this image is showing that if all of the glaciers on Earth melted, Florida would be completely flooded. About half of Georgia would be flooded. Brunswick, Georgia would be completely underwater. So would San Francisco, so would New York City, so would Boston, so would New Orleans, so would Cancun, right? A lot of these coastal zones would be underwater. Now, luckily, we don't expect all glaciers on Earth to melt by the year 2100, right? We expect them to melt, just not all to melt. However, we do expect glaciers to contribute to about 50 centimeters of sea level rise if we don't curb carbon emissions. And we are on track to get 50 centimeters of sea level rise by the year 2100. Okay. This means that if you are living in downtown Brunswick, right, there's a good chance, or if you're living near a shoreline, if you're living near a tidal marsh, there's a good chance that by the end of your life, or maybe into your children's or grandchildren's lives, those areas will be underwater. If not every day, definitely during storms. Now, as I said, we don't expect all glaciers to melt by the year 2100. However, we do know that all glaciers have melted in the past. We know this because there's evidence of past hothouse conditions where we find tropical fossils in the Arctic and in the Antarctic. We had actually found fossils of palm fronds and alligators in the Arctic. Both of these species are tropical species. So finding palm fronds, finding alligators, their fossils in the Arctic shows that the Arctic used to have the same temperature as the tropics. And if you're really interested in this, and you want to learn more about the history of the Earth, when it was hot, when it was cold, things like that, you should take my class next semester called Historical Geology. Little plug.